Thanks for tuning into the first episode of Things I Hear on the Misophonia Without Borders channel. I'm John, but you can call me Smooter, and I'm just a guy who has misophonia. Let me get a few important disclaimers out of the way, and hopefully those of you who don't understand why the disclaimers are needed will get it by the time we're done today. First, take this as an early trigger alert for the whole episode. I will do the best I can to not make any triggering noises or gestures, but honestly, misophones sometimes trigger other misophones as much as anyone else does, even though we try to be sensitive to each other. And that's a topic for another episode. Since this is about misophonia, specific triggers are going to come up sometimes, and we may have to name them in order to make sense. And when that happens, I'll be as non-detailed and quick about it as possible. I'm not a therapist, audiologist, psychologist, or any other kind of ologist or medical expert. Again, I'm just a guy who has misophonia. I've had it since I was a teenager, and I'm just here to talk about it. Now, there are lots of great resources like vlogs and podcasts and such that focus on the clinical side of misophonia, the research, the treatments, and hopefully finding a cure someday and things like that. Thank God for the people behind those. I seriously encourage you to check those resources out. No doubt we'll talk about some of those same things too, but the main focus of the Things I Hear program is going to be what I call the Misophonia experience, which is what I was going to call the program before I found out Joel Rogan stole my idea for his podcast. Kidding. Don't sue me, Joe, as if he's even watching. Anyway, there's basically going to be more of a layman's approach here. And that said, what is this misophonia thing that I keep bringing up? Well, you're here, so chances are you have misophonia, or at least you think you might. Maybe you're watching because you think someone you care about has it. Maybe you're just curious or even found this video by accident. In any case, keep watching because knowledge is power, right? So this is the part where I try to explain what? The last time I didn't call him Joel Rogan. I said Joe. Shut up, Doug. Okay, so this is the part where I try to explain misophonia. Let me read something to you I recently wrote for a different post that at least explains what it is for me. But first, let's try something that might help those of you who are triggered by descriptions of triggers. Yes, this is a thing for some of us, unfortunately. It doesn't currently happen to me, but I know it does for quite a few of you. When a trigger description is coming, Doug's going to place this little trigger description alert sign above my head. He's going to do it a few seconds early so you can mute me if you need to. Put the magazine away, Doug. When the trigger description is over, he'll remove the sign and you can unmute me. Okay, here we go with my take on miso. Oh, yeah. Miso is what a lot of us call misophonia for short. In fact, when I first heard the word, I couldn't remember what it was for a long time, so I had to remind myself by saying miso soup alphonia, and then eventually I dropped the soup and you get it. Anyway, here goes. A short answer would be to say that basically some sounds cause me extreme discomfort and even pain. Some of these sounds, such as open mouth chewing and slurping a drink, do annoy some people anyway, as they are considered bad manners. However, for the person who has misophonia, it's not just a simple annoyance. It's much more than that, and many of the other problem sounds, such as rustling of a paper bag or the sound of people kissing in a movie, may actually be completely normal for most people. Some other annoying aspects of misophonia that make it difficult to understand are that it doesn't affect every misophone the exact same way. And while there are several sounds or triggers that we have in common, refer back to the open mouth chewing thing, these problem sounds actually vary from person to person. For example, some people are triggered by the sound of coughing or sniffling, but I'm not. Okay, so now I'm going to give you a little bit more of a medical description of misophonia. I'm going to share some snippets of a pretty cool article I recently found while I was doing some research. This is from an article on the Medical News Today website. It's called What is Misophonia? And it was written by Daniel Dresden. The article reads, a person with misophonia has unusually strong and negative emotional reactions to sounds that most people do not notice, such as chewing or breathing. Hearing these sounds may trigger chest pressure and other symptoms of anxiety. It is not unusual for people to occasionally be irritated by some everyday sounds, but for individuals with misophonia, the sound of someone smacking their lips or clicking a pen can make them want to scream or hit out. These physical and emotional reactions to innocent everyday sounds are similar to the fight or flight response and can lead to feelings of anxiety, panic, and rage. And then it has a little section that says fast facts on misophonia. A person's reaction can be so powerful it interferes with their ability to live life normally. Since misophonia is a newly identified health disorder, treatment options are still limited. The term means hatred of sound, but not all sounds are a problem for people with sound sensitivity. Not a bad description. Not bad at all. If you want to read the whole article on the Medical News Today website, the link on it is going to be in the video details below. Some of you might be wondering why I'm leaving my mistakes like stuttering or misreading something in the video, or maybe not. Well, actually, I'm not. I'm only leaving some of the mistakes in because I want to keep this real, and sometimes these little flub-ups can even be funny. And we need to be able to laugh at ourselves, and I laugh at myself quite a bit. I truly do believe humor is one of our best tools against misophonia. Yeah, I mean that. Also, all that editing and re-recording stuff can be a real pain in the butt. Dude needs a break. Have you heard about the Misophonia Convention? It's a yearly event hosted by the Misophonia Association. The 2023 Misophonia Convention is going to happen Thursday, November 2nd through Saturday, November 4th at the Embassy Suites in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Can't make it, but wish you could? That's okay. This will be the first ever hybrid convention, meaning you can be there in person or attend virtually. That's right. You can attend online from the comfort of your own whatever on whatever device. I went to my first Misophonia convention in 2017 and I got so much out of it. That's where I first got to be a part of the Misophonia community, and I'm always looking forward to the next convention. This year, I had the honor of becoming a Misophonia Association board member. So now I get to help plan the conventions with the rest of the board. And I got to tell you, we've been working hard to put together a great event for everyone. We're going to have presentations by folks who are involved in misophonia research and treatment, talks about coping methods and devices that help ease things for us. And for the first time, we're planning on having a special celebrity guest. That's right, a celebrity who also has misophonia and wants to help the miso community. Oh, and you people who've been making wisecrack comments about loud snacks at the convention on the Facebook posts about it, I see you. You're funny. And yes, we're going to have soft, quiet snacks for those of you who attend in person. I love all this stuff, but the best part of the convention for me is meeting and hanging out with other misophones and the ones who love them. We're united like a family. So mark the dates, November 2nd to November 4th in Albuquerque, New Mexico. If you can make it in person, book now while there's still space. And if you really can't, either in person, book now to attend online so that we can make sure we've got enough servers to handle all the crowd traffic. It's going to be a blast, but not too loud of a blast. A very quiet blast. Doug, you going to go to the convention? Yeah? Why Motel 6? You'll have a room at the Embassy Suites. Yes, by yourself. No, not at all. I used to stay at the Motel 6s when I did comic book shows, and that was a long time ago. Okay, let's do this now. So we've got a few minutes left. I don't plan on making these too long, but who knows down the road, right? I want to say something to those of you who have misophonia and maybe just recently learned what it is. It's an awful condition that no one should have to live with. But aren't you glad to know that it's real? Aren't you glad to know that you're not alone with this miso thing? This sometimes I call it the miso monster, the miso beast. It's amazing I can still eat miso soup. That's a terrible joke. Please forgive me. Before you knew miso was your problem, did people make fun of you for how you reacted to your trigger sounds? Did people tell you to get over it? Does that sound familiar? Yeah, get over it. You never get over that. Maybe some well-meaning people genuinely and even with compassion tried to convince you that you really did need to get over it because what you're feeling wasn't real, because they truly did believe that for you. But now you know, and now you can do something about it. And for some of you, I hope for all of you, some of those people I was just talking about are going to wind up being some of your biggest supporters. Yeah, cliche, I know, but that is what happened for me in large part when I found out. And for you younger people, by that I mean kids, teens, and even young adults, there's never a good time to have misophonia. But in the time you're growing up in or living in, it has a name and it's becoming more well known. Misophonia was given its name in the early 2000s. I can't narrow down exactly when mine started to manifest, but safe to say that I probably began to develop as a misophone when I was in my mid-teens, so like 15 years or more earlier. Well, give or take a little. And even then, once they did come up with a name for it and discover it, I wouldn't even know about it for another 15 or 16 years. So until I became miso aware, well, that's terrible. Forgive me for that one too. But yes, I thought I was losing my mind. And yes, there were a multitude of times when I would beat myself up with things like, why am I like this? Why can't I make myself not feel this way when people make this noise or that noise? Why do I feel the noise? That's what my generation grew up with, but misophonia didn't start with Gen X. Right now, we don't really know how far back it goes, but I know some people in their 70s who have it. Imagine what it was like for them going through these symptoms for 40, 50, 60 years or more before finding out why. And of course, this means countless numbers of folks over time lived their whole lives with it and died without ever finding out what it was. So, again, I'm not saying the younger generations of misophonia sufferers have it easy, not at all. But you are blessed to live in a time when the word misophonia is out there and all this research is now being done and people are working on treatments and coping strategies and cool stuff like that while you're still young. I didn't come up with this on my own. Us older misophones talk about it sometimes, how we envy the younger misophones for living young in a time when you can at least know what it is. And maybe someday you guys will see the cure for misophonia. Maybe it's one of you who's going to bring that cure. Now, there's a bright side. What do you think, Doug? We done? Is that a good point to end on? Yeah, agreed. So, thanks for watching the first episode of Things I Hear on the Misophonia Without Borders channel. I hope you'll watch episodes and shorts that are going to come after. So please hit that like button on the video and subscribe to the Misophonia Without Borders channel and tell a friend. I'm John, but you can still call me Smooter. See you on the next episode. Say bye, Doug. Doug says bye, y'all.